a little bit about my the slide here. As you can see, I'm going to talk a little bit about ATCEN, ATCN. This is the organization I'm from, right? ATCEN, what we do is we are a training provider and also a consulting firm based in Malaysia. Right, based in Malaysia. For those of you who are not in Malaysia at the moment, okay, the economy is starting to open up again after a pretty long lockdown, right? And we in essence have pivoted all towards online. Okay, as a matter of fact, we are sort of wondering what to do with the office now that most of us have not been in the office for many months. Okay, so um, the other thing I want to talk to you about is, of course, this thing called WKU. WKU, as you can see on your top right-hand corner, is a university. It's the Western Kentucky University, right? It's actually American university based in Kentucky, Bowling Green, Kentucky. Now, we have been working with Western Kentucky for give and take about 15 years now, 15 years. Right? ATCEN itself was set up in 2003. We have been working with Western Kentucky for about 15 years now. Western Kentucky University, as I mentioned, is the full-fledged state university in the US. Okay, so if you go to www.wku.edu, you will be able to find all you need to find about Western Kentucky University. And of course, it's a university I've been there before. I didn't graduate from there, but when we started working on collaborating together many years ago, right, that was I made a trip there just to make sure everything is tied up properly, and they welcomed me with open arms. So let me tell you a little bit more about this whole particular history. But before that, I think it's very important that I introduce myself. Okay, so my name is Jeremy Lee, Lee, right? I'm the co-founder of ATCEN, and what happens here is I'm also the a leadership enabler. I do a lot of work in the leadership environment, management development. I do executive coaching. As a matter of fact, this morning I had two coaching uh, sessions this morning, right? Each session lasting about 60 minutes to 90 minutes, but it also depends on what kind of things that we're talking about. One session was a lot longer, the other session was only about 45 minutes. Now, and I'm a chartered global management accountant. So I'm a chartered management accountant registered with CIMA in the UK and CGMA in UK and US. I'm also an MIA member in Malaysia. I've got my master's in engineering business management, so something quite unique. I'm both have one foot in the engineering sort of well, background. I wouldn't say background, but engineering kind of area. But also the other part is very much into business and management accounting. I'm also a certified profiler, PSMB's trainer and also WKU trainer. Okay, I've been working with WKU for the last more than 15 years actually, right? About 15 years, 15, 16 years, right? So what I do today is I train a lot. Okay, I do a lot of training. So at the same time, I also do a lot of work in the customer experience industry. Okay, this is whereby we work in things such as the contact center, we work in enhancing the customer experience and also the culture in such particular areas, right? And I do coaching, right, on my free time. Now, this is what I do. And just to give you a little bit more insight into ATCEN, give me about 5 minutes, right? Very quickly, what I'm going to do here is just to talk about ATCEN. What does ATCEN do? ATCEN is actually the people development expert. We have been around since 2003, as I mentioned just now. We are 100% Malaysian, but because most of our work is based in Malaysia, and most of the work that we do is only around the Southeast Asian region. We have very early on decided that we won't go beyond the Southeast Asian region. Thing is also because of the traveling involved, right? Used to travel a lot. I used to work for a few big organizations, so travel enough. And when I started this, I said, if possible, I would not want to travel far away. Okay, so the most furthest I've ever been in terms of work related with ASEAN is only China. Okay, right? I don't want to travel too far just to do some work. If I can do work here, I'd rather do the work here. Right? For those of you who do a lot of work, traveling and work, you understand what I mean. At first it's fun, after a while it becomes very tiring. Um, Advantages are we are trainers, so we train a lot. Okay, even during the pandemic I was still doing quite a fair bit of training, right? And now the training has sort of picked up even more, but because of some relationship that we have with WKU, what we are doing is a series of programs to promote what they have certified, okay, together with ATCEN over the last few months, which is the certified business masterclass and also the certified high performance manager program. So this is the program. To what I'm running today is a snippet of what we would typically be covering, okay, in these two particular programs, and I'll talk to you about these two particular programs later on. Okay, now we are HRDF. I need to change that logo. We are changed to HRD Corp in the last month. We are also, still of course with WKU. We are also registered with ILM, which is the Institute of Leadership Management in the UK. We are SME Association Malaysia partner, CBMRA, and also we are the distributor. We are the distributor with some regional areas that we can go into around the region for Really English. Really English is is a UK-based online learning platform organization. You saw some of their advertisement earlier, right? What they do is they can give you a lot of things like practical English online, which improves your reading skills, listening skills, and also speaking skills, and also vocab, of course. And of course, they can also do something called writing for business. So this is something that's being offered by them, and we are the main distributor in Malaysia and also part of the region here. Now, other things, okay? Right? What does ATCEN do? Just to give you a very quick one. ATCEN first, our logo, okay, right, or our name actually stands for a training capacity event network organization. That's what ATCEN stands for. So if you want to know more about us, right? My other partner here with me today, okay, is of course Chloe. Chloe is at the back. Chloe, just say hi.
Hi everyone, Chloe here.
Okay, the girl with a lovely voice, right? So what happens here? You got anything? Just ask Chloe. She is also on chat with us all the time. And also, if you have any other questions, right, please feel free to post it to me and her later on. Now, about our organization, but anytime about the topic, okay, feel free to post it anytime. Okay, if you got something on the topic, feel free to post it anytime, right? And we will do our very best to answer you. Now, everyone okay? If you're ready to go, right? Can you just type ready? Ready. R. Okay. Right. Type ready so that we know that you're ready. Okay. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you, Gabe. Thank you. Wow, so fast. Right. Sandy, Anika. Right. Right. Mira, thank you. Mm. Charlen, thank you. Okay. Isui, thank you very much. Peter, hi, thank you. Okay. Now, so good, good, good. A lot of people saying that. Hey, thank you. Let's start then. Let's start. I think all of you are ready. Okay. Let's go. Okay, sorry, I got two more slides. I forgot. Okay, this is all the programs that we do for business development. Okay, so it's not business development, management development programs. As you can see, it is divided, okay, or rather segmented into the competency levels. Right. Same thing here for business orientation. It's into the competency level, and same thing for communication is into the competency level. Okay. Next week I'll be doing something on strategic acumen. Right. Some people will ask me, Jeremy, is it the same as planning, strategic planning? My answer is no. Right. What happens with strategic acumen is strategic acumen comes first, then strategic planning comes second, right? You better have some strategic acumen before you start the planning process. A lot of people sometimes whenever I do strategic planning with people, they come and they tell me beforehand, why do we always come back? Why bother? It always come back to the same old thing. Every year we plan and we plan and we do our strategic plan, it always come back to the same old thing. My thing is that's because you are not looking at your strategic acumen first. Right? So if you want to know more about strategic acumen, join me same time next week on strategic acumen. Okay, this is what I mean by stop going around in circles. Get your strategic acumen right first before you even do the plan. Right? Strategic acumen has certain tools that we use, much more big tools. But if you are familiar with system thinking is one of those tools. Right? Then the planning start. This is the part whereby you go into your competitive analysis, you do your PES and your SWOT analysis or your reverse SWOT, whatever you want to do it. That's the strategic planning side. The strategic acumen is in the beginning. Okay, so want to find out more next week. Okay, right? So recommending that you come back next week. Now, let's talk about trust. Okay, trust, TRUST, very big word, very big word. And how many of you? Just a quick one. How many of you? You trusted someone and you were somehow rather let down. Anyone? If you have, put yes lah. If you put no, if you never had once in your life, put no. Okay, on the chat group, just go, right? Or yeah, anyone, right? So yes, no, or I don't know. Okay, type. Okay, is it yes, no, or I don't know? Have you ever trusted someone and of course you were let down, right? Hijin, you trust yourself, you trust everyone, and now you just trust yourself, is it? Okay, so I think it's very common, right? It's a very common thing. We trust people, and sometimes we are let down by the individuals. Sometimes we are let down by the individuals, which is why we are here to talk about a certain topic here, which is very, very crucial, very crucial. And I'm going to share with you a few things in this particular 65-minute talk, all right? And then we can have a little bit of time with Q&A. And let's talk about the 5 components of higher trust, okay? Right? What do I mean by higher trust? Well, basically, how do you build trust, right? How do you build trust? How do you build trust? So that's one of the key things I'm going to talk about, right? And please share your input, share your insights if you have any, ask your questions if you have any, right? And of course, whenever I ask for some answers, please, if you can, type. Or if you really want to and you are up to it, please unmute yourself and say, Jeremy, let me share, okay? Right? Or you just raise your hand and, I'll know to ask you. Can everybody? Okay, so and how to improve trust in the organization. So we are coming from a business perspective. We are coming from a business perspective, but that doesn't mean that you cannot make use of whatever you learn down here for whatever environment that you are in. And if you want to ask that question, how will you do this in your own environment? Please go ahead. Okay, I'm fine with answering that question. Now, everyone, okay. So this is what we're gonna do. Very quick first one. Okay. Can everyone type? What is trust to you? What is trust to you? Big word, Trust. It's a huge word, it's a big word. What exactly is trust to you? Right? What exactly is trust to you? How do you define trust? Right? What is trust? Right. It is being reliable. I mean, now please note that there's bound to be quite a few definitions here. Okay. Yep. Wow. Okay. So, uh, being reliable. Okay. Anika says it's being reliable. Gabriel is fruitful cooperation. Okay. Right. Someone you can rely on. Peter says it's someone you can rely on. Love that. Okay. Uh, Hijin Park, okay, Hijin here said loving because if there is no love for someone, we cannot trust either, right? I read a quote, I read a quote on something similar like this, right? Right? You can love someone, but it doesn't mean that you can trust that person. However, when you can trust that person, it's easier to love that person. You get me? You can love someone, but it doesn't mean that you can trust the person. However, when you can trust the person, it's easier to love the person. Right? A lot of boyfriend girlfriend relationship is based on that, right? I love him, I love her, but can I trust him or her? Will he or she remain faithful to me? Da 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 da. But if you can trust someone, it's so much easier to love that person. Okay, so belief is about a belief. A belief, Joseph says, is about a belief that you have about someone. Okay, right? And Gabriel mentioned it's fruitful cooperation. Interesting. So this is trust. This is trust. And trust is something that is very critical and important in any relationship. If there's no trust, it's very difficult to do things. Right? Now, just to be frank with you, I have fired people for my organization because of trust issue. Typically 24 hours notice. You get me? Not only one time. I've done it twice or 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. Okay, trust issues, huge trust issues, right? So I have even I was quite some time back. I was happened to be in this. Okay, I won't name the industry, a bit sensitive. Uh, Quite some time back, I happened to be in the board meeting. Sorry, I wouldn't say a board meeting. The CEO of this large organization called for a meeting, and just so happens that I was doing some consulting work in this organization at that point of time, right? And what happened was that I was invited to go for the meeting because there was a few things that needed to be discussed. The CEO was in a bit of a foul mood that day. Foul mood as in something happened. I won't go into the details of what happened. Okay, but what happened? But the thing was, the CEO of the company was so angry because money was missing, and someone actually, the person involved, okay, resigned or threw his letter within a 24-hour notice. That means basically, the moment that incident came out, that person threw in his letter, right, and walked off. Okay, never turned up. HR was there informing of the CEO of this, and that's why the CEO was in a bit of a foul mood, right? Because money was missing, and this is what the CEO did. That he did. He told HR that he wants this person's face to be plastered on the newspaper to say that this person does not and is no longer an employee of this organization, and please put it into as many newspapers as possible, right? Now, not joking, it's a true story. Okay, this is a true story. Um, and what happened was that the HR director, right, because it's a high level meeting, actually told the CEO this is not how the company practice this HR policy, and they don't normally ever do this again, okay, to anyone. The CEO just looked at the HR director and said, if you need to put it under my name and you bill me for this particular bill, I will pay for it. You get me? Right? Because he was so disgusted over that this person just left like that. And they now have to do more, and money is basically missing. Very huge trust issue. And he made sure everyone on that table knew about what exactly had happened. Right? And everyone is sure, do not do such a thing to an organization again. Okay, and he is going to be very pissed off if it happens in the organization, right? Ever again. And how was my involvement in this? Very simple. He was going and going and going, and suddenly he saw me and he looked at me and go, "You are not in my management team." I went, "No, sir, I'm not." Right? Then he went quiet, and then he totally changed his tone in the next 30 seconds. Okay, because he suddenly realized I was not supposed to be there, and I was actually the only vendor in that room at that point of time. Or else everyone in the room, when they came out, quite a few people came up to me and said, "Thank you. If you're not in the room, you'll probably get another 5 more minutes of shelling because of what exactly happened." So a lot is placed on trust. In many, many times, trust is the key component of what makes a team move forward, right? Or what makes a team good, right? So this is something that we are going to talk about today, right? And I'm very sure, based on what you all mentioned earlier, that there will have been incidents. All of us are adults here, right? I assume all of us are above 18, there, or even below 18. You will already have some trust issue whereby you trusted some certain people, and then what happens is that person let you down in some form or other. Okay, in some form or other. Now, anyone would like to share what are some of the trust issues that they had previously? They trusted someone, and what happened was they were let down. Okay, so if you want, just type it in. Don't need to give me a full story. Just give me snippets here and there so that we understand this. I promise you, I will not ask any questions. I will not ask any questions. Okay. Now, one of the worst one I had. I mean, let me share my experience in business. One of the worst one I had was that I had actually had a staff who was also a trainer set up a competing firm while still working with me. I have no issue if the staff was going to set up a firm, right, after he or she left the organization. But the problem is this staff set up that firm while still my payroll, in my payroll, okay, and acting as my staff to bid for projects. I found it out from one of our clients. Okay. So trust issue, huge trust issues. You get me? So there's a lot of things that we do with trust. Right? No one wants to type something. If you want to type something, how were you betrayed or how were you let down in some form or other? Ken, right? I even have a account person who was taking money from the cash deposit box. I had to find it when I did the spot check. Yeah, my account person was taking money from the cash box. Right, we always leave like 500 ringgit worth of cash inside there, not much, just to make sure that if anything goes bad or go down, there's some money in the office to just buy some purchases and things like that. But the money was missing. You get me? Everyone all right here? Right? If you're okay, just put a thumbs up. You understand what I mean by trust here? Right? Ken? Okay. So let's move. Okay. Now, trust. Let's talk about trust, the big thing called trust. Trust, as you can see here by Stephen Covey. All of you know Stephen Covey? You know Stephen Covey? Heard of him before? Stephen Covey? If you put yes or you just thumbs up, that means you know him, or you have never heard of him. Thumbs up or yes. If you have not heard of him, just put no. Never heard of him. Gabriel, okay, never heard of him. Nope, nope, nope. Oh, Jun Song, no, no. Okay, Grace, thank you. Right, Tommy, no. Okay, this is the guy who wrote the book Seven Habits. Right, Stephen Covey is most famous for the book called The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Okay, so if you have never read the book, please do. It is highly relevant to living a life, a principled life or a disciplined life. Okay, seven habits, right? Of highly effective people. There is actually a Covey Institute. Okay, do that. So, right. So this is what he does. He says trust is the glue of life. It's the most essential ingredient in effective communication. It's the most effective essential ingredient in effective communication. It's the foundational principle that holds all relationships. Every single relationship that you have had, if trust is not there, there is no foundation for this relationship. It will break apart. Okay. Another workshop that I do is something called courageous conversation, or some people call it difficult conversation, right? Some people call it crucial conversation. And the whole thing very much is how to rebuild that particular trust once it's broken, and how to communicate, right? Based on trust. So this is what we do in that particular workshop. If you do things like stakeholder management, same thing, right? I always tell people, if you don't have trust in any stakeholder management, what effectively happens is everything you do is transactional. Everything that you give, the other person expects, something back in return. So there's always this transaction that needs to go on. If there's trust, the transaction can be delayed long term. Okay, so trust again, is the highest form of motivation. It also brings out the best in people. It also brings out invested people, and this is something that you will see very critical when it comes to you kids and stuff like that, right? Kids want to be trusted, the staff want to be trusted, right? The staff want to know that the manager trusts them, the manager want to know that the staff can be trusted in getting the job done. So all these are trust, right? And trust, if you break it, if you were to break it, right? Even though it may be fixed, like this, if you see this, this base down here, right? It's fixed. They super glue it together, and sometimes in Japan they glue it together and they paste it together with gold. Okay, so it looks different, but the problem is it's never going to be the same again. Because why? The individual that you lost trust on, or vice versa, will always have an experience of you or him or her in that loss of trust environment. It will never be the same. And don't be surprised. And if you covered, if you were with me last week when I talk about personality, don't be surprised. Do not be surprised with certain personalities who will hold a grudge towards it. They may forgive you, but they are not going to forget it. Okay, again, for certain people, they may forgive you for breaking that trust, but it doesn't mean that they forget. And because they never forget that particular issue, it's never going to be the same again. Because sometimes you must understand the way we as humans work, All it needs is that small something incident to spark off, and we go back to that incident of that trust issue maybe 5, 10, 15 years ago. Because sometimes, people have this thing, or people don't change. The leopard doesn't change its spots, right? So they go back there somehow or other. So remember, trust is like a vase, a vase, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Okay. Once it's broken, though you can fix it, the vase or the vase will never be the same again, right? Will never, I pronounce it vase, but I know some of you will pronounce it as vase, okay? So the vase will never be the same again. So that is a fact. That happened to many, many times, okay? So key thing here, right? If you are husband-wife relationship, please make sure the trust is there. Now, defining trust. Right, I took this off from a dictionary. Can't remember which one. But trust is the fundamental component of virtually all social interaction. That is something that we need to remember. Every social interaction, right? Whether I'm going to go further in terms of my relationship with you, it's based on trust. Whether I want to talk to you further, it's based on trust. I was just telling someone in my coaching session just now. Okay, ended about 1 o'clock. So I telling the person, one of the things that we need to do is we need to change our environment. And since the government has Malaysian government has allowed people to travel more, right? About a week back, right? This is our second week. What happens is, I'm also starting to meet people outside, which I've not done in quite some time. Right, unless absolutely necessary. So I've actually got 2 meetings scheduled. Right, my coaches sort of asked me, why do I do that? Despite the danger, I said, well, because they came to me sincerely. We are talking about a business deal, and I think it's good that we meet because I also want to see them. I've not met them, right? I know who they are, but I've never met these people. So since they are willingly open to get a discussion going, I want to meet them face to face, and they also want to meet me face to face. So we're going to meet and see exactly where we can go. Why? Because it's a fundamental component of virtually all social interaction. End of the day, I'm just going to ask myself this: my meetings next week, do I trust this person? Does this person look genuine, seem genuine? Right? Forget about all what they said. End of the day, if I trust the person, what it means is no matter what they say, how they come across, we can still work it out. If I don't trust the person, very likely whatever they say, how much they put on the table, whatever money that they have, I'm not going to even blink an eye. I'm just going to walk away. You get me? It's a very simple thing. Okay. Trust refers to the level of confidence we have in that other person, or that the other person will act in ways that will fulfill our expectation. Okay. Again, trust refers to the level of confidence we have that the other person, whichever party that we are talking to, right, or interacting with, will act in ways that fulfill our expectation. So is it very selfish? Yes, in a way, trust is selfish because it comes from a me perspective. Me perspective, right? I trust you is because, hey, you are going to act in a certain way that fulfills my expectation of you. In that way, yeah, it's a bit selfish. But the problem is sometimes we make this too much us and we forget about them. So one of the key questions we want to look into here is to ask ourselves, how do I get another person to trust me? So if you want to get someone to trust you, what are some of the things that you must do? Okay, and it's not just an intellectual thing or an emotional thing. It's usually a combination of a bit of both, right? This confidence, going back to the slide, is both an intellectual assessment of the person's behavior as well as an emotional likelihood of the person's motive. You get me? At times, it means to act the same always. What do I mean by that? We expect sometimes when it comes to trust, that the person is always acting in the same way. Oh, 10 years ago, he was like that. He always do this. 10 years later, when we meet him or her, we still expect him or she to do that. You understand? No? So sometimes it also works that way, right? But many a time, it is down to intellectual assessment and an emotional motive. Meaning, hey, right? I expect this person to be like that. Does the person act like that, right? I expect this person to be concerned about me, to have feelings about me, or to show care about me. Is this person like that? Okay, one of the key things we always, whenever I work with people on enhancing the customer experience, is this, right? It must show that we are caring for our customers, come from their perspective. Don't always just come from what the company wants to do. Yes, our company has its policies, has its procedures of how to deal with individuals. However, or customers. However, if we always stick to the rules, okay, the procedures, we may not be doing what the customer would like us to do, and hence trust is not built. Okay. Now, everyone okay so far? If you're all right, thumbs up. Any questions? Any questions? You're going deeper. Huh? You're going deeper, right? If you're okay, thumbs up, right? Right? No question, right? Ah, thank you, Anika. Thank you, Joseph. Sabi, right? Mira, right? Okay. Akmanizam, yes, thank you. Isu, Hijin, thank you, right? Right. So everyone, cool, huh? Right? Okay. Ken, no questions here. Okay, Dala, no questions here. Thank you. You got question? Don't feel. Please feel free. Please feel free to ask. Right? Oh, okay. Sorry. There is a question. Kenneth Yip. Kenneth Yip. Good question. Are you saying bending companies' route to build trust with customers? Right? Now, this is where it becomes tricky. This is where it becomes tricky. Okay. One of the key things I always mention, okay, is there a way that you can find that you can satisfy both? Is there a way you can find that you can satisfy both? And I would also like to challenge you a little bit, Kenneth. Okay. Lots of people okay, this happens a lot in my partner Ken, right? He does a lot of customer experience programs. And what happens sometimes is that I join him, okay, because I also have quite a fair bit of customer experience background, but not as much as him. Okay, he has a lot of it, right? But I have, done served in that environment, work in that environment, and also consulted in that particular environment. Okay, and what happens here is we always go into a bit of a debate here, okay, with a lot of our clients. They always think that just because a company is has customer experience, it means that they are customer centric. It means that they are customer centric. Okay, right. This is what I mean. CE, customer experience, equal to customer centricity, which I tell a lot of people, no, it does not. I may have a very good customer experience, right, based on whatever I do. However, end of the day, when the customer is wanting something that goes against what we are, or if we would need to take a monetary hit, okay, that means the cost increases of serving this customer. Would we do it? Would we do it? Because one is customer centric. One, customer centric means I will still serve this customer, okay, as long as they are deemed a customer. Now, what I mean by customer centricity, I mean you serve everyone. No, I have a definition of what a customer is. I will still serve this customer no matter what, even though it costs me money to serve this customer, but as long as they are happy, because I'm looking at it from a very long-term perspective. You get me? So I wouldn't say bend the rules, but I will always say if you can look at the rules and see whether there is a line that you can go in between. Okay? Or end of the day, someone needs to make a decision. Do we really need this rule? And are rules really rules, or are rules serving as guidelines? Are rules serving as guidelines? A lot of rules have changed during this pandemic. Right? If you understand what I mean, a lot of rules have changed during this pandemic. Because why? We found that the rules cannot work in this pandemic. It has to change. Okay, so if you ever do a customer experience map or a HR map or a HR journey, okay, of the individual development, there are always rules that need to be changed, right? Procedures are made by people, hence it can be changed by people. But my key thing is based on what principles you are coming from. Based on what principles you are coming from. Okay, and that is key. So go back to the principles. Ask yourself, which principles are you coming from? Are you okay with that? Will you live by that principle? If you live by that principle, then please make your decision based on those principles. Okay, right. So it's not either bending or this or that, right? Now, let's move forward. Let's move forward. Okay, yes, let's move forward. Now, what does the lack of trust leads to? Everyone, type. Okay, right. Time to do some typing. What does the lack of trust leads to? What does the lack of trust leads to? Everyone, type. What does the lack? Conflict, definitely. Conflict. It would definitely lead to more and more conflict. Right? It's definitely conflicting. Oh, lots of broken relationship. Yeah. Misunderstanding. Yes. Right. Sandy, yes. Misunderstanding, conflict. Hey, hi, Sandy. Okay. All right. Kevin, right. Prejudice. Definitely. Right. I may not have something against you, but later on I will have something against you. Okay. And the worst thing is I may have something against people who look like you, who sound like you, who is you, and all the thing. Okay. Right. Oh yes. Stress. Okay. Joanne, stress, definite. All these are part of this thing. Okay. And of course, Kenneth goes accusation. Right. Lack of trust leads to a lot of accusation. Sometimes it even made up. Made up. Okay. I feel that you did something even though you did not do anything. Right. And if I'm the accused person, right, and I didn't do anything, I am definitely stressed out. I'm definitely stressed out. Okay. Now, trust is not a good thing to break, but it is something that is broken every single day. Maybe at this point of time, you are breaking someone's trust or someone is breaking your trust, knowingly or unknowingly. Okay? I'm just saying. Now, why does this occur? Right? The lack of trust can come from few key things at the base. There's fear. I scared I'm being punished. Okay? I scared I'm being punished. So therefore, to not get hurt, I break my trust. Right? Individualism. I don't care enough about my team. So when I make decisions, I'm gonna make the best decision for me. Without taking into account the team. Again, I don't care enough about my team. There are people who are very individualistic. Because they want to get to a certain destination, because they want to get certain things. So therefore, they will make decisions based on what they feel is best for me. Sometimes we, because we is not including you. Okay? Right? So that's what I mean by a bit of individualism. Negative experience. Right? I heard from someone, maybe you did something small to me previously, and therefore it expands. Okay. And last but not least, of course, very simple, as I mentioned, from young, right, I was told certain things about certain people, about certain type of incidents. Right? So therefore, I don't trust. I mean, I had this conversation with a parent once, and the parent was telling me, it's so funny. We tell our kids, if you are naughty, the police will come and catch you. The police will come and catch you. The police will come and catch you. Maybe it's true for you, you too. For those of you who are not from Malaysia, but in Malaysia, there's this thing called the police will come and tangkap you. So therefore, hey, when the child grows up, there's bound to be some distrust about the police, isn't it? Even though the police didn't do anything to him or her. It's because they will instill this particular belief that the police is seen as bad. The police is there to catch you. You get me? So this is what we mean by the belief system. Okay. Now, let me show you something. Right. The next slide is a very important slide, and it took me a long time to look for this because this is something that I wanted to really emphasize on. Okay. How many of you are familiar with Confucius? Confucius, you heard of him? Confucius, right? The Chinese will know him as Kongzi. Anyone? Confucius? No, no. Yes. Yeah. You. Yep. I think so, lah. Most. Okay. Some of you may have studied him. In history. I mean, he is. I mean, most of China today is based on Confucianism. Okay. If you're in China, there's no main real big religion, right? The main thing that everyone follows is Confucianism. Okay. Now, and what we are talking about is a person who lives um now in 2000, okay, he lived about 2500 years ago because he was born sometime in the 500 BC, okay, 550 BC if I remember correctly. So what happened here is this. Let me show you something, right, that what he said. There is a student of his named Zigong, okay, Zigon. Is a student of Confucius, and he was asking his master, okay, who is Confucius at that point of time, right? What is needed in governance? What is needed in governance? What is needed in governing and governing a country? Okay, and Confucius' reply to him was very simple. Make sure now you must remember this is 500 BC, so this is 2,500 years ago. Okay, right? Enough food, enough weapons, and people trust of the ruler. Okay, people trust of the ruler, that means the king at that point of time. He lived during the warring state. This is the time whereby China was just at war with each other all the time, and this was before Emperor Qin Shi Huang, which is the one who built the Great Wall. Okay, right, or built the biggest part of the Great Wall. So this was before even the United China per se. So this was during the time whereby it was all a lot of states and all these kingdoms were just fighting each other. So Zigong said, if you have no choice but to forego one thing, which of these three would be first? He says, forego the weapons. Then he said, if you have no choice and you have to forego one of these last two things, which is food and trust of the ruler, Confucius says, forego the food. Since ancient time, okay, this is the logic behind it, there's always been death. Okay, but if the people have no trust, the state will not survive. See what kind of emphasis he put on trust. See what kind of emphasis he puts on trust. That's why a lot of people, even till today, they said, if your team trusts you, you can lead them through heaven and hell, and they will still love you for it. Again, if the team trusts you, you can lead them to heaven and to hell, and they will still love you for it. That's how big, that's how powerful trust is. That's why Stephen Covey also said in the beginning, there's no more powerful motivation than trust. Okay, right? Trust of the individual. Now, I have told people before, there are certain individuals in this thing. I may not like them. That means I may not like them, but I definitely do trust them. I do have a few friends that I may not like them. That means I don't really like their company, right? But the thing is, I know if I go to them, I ask them for help, they will definitely help. Okay, now just a little bit of a secret here. Just a little bit of a secret. When I was in secondary school, I was actually head boy. You know, head boy, the head prefect lah. Okay. A lot of people were quite curious. Why? I'm pretty good friends with so-called the gangster in the school, right? One thing was very clear between the two of us. We may not like each other, but we respected each other to have certain trust of each other. So if I tell him, please don't do something, and he says, fine, Jeremy, I will not do it. Okay, I can trust that he will not do it. That is the thing that we have on each other. Now, do other things sometimes happen? Yes, but the trust level that we had on with each other is actually pretty high. So I was actually pretty sad, that he passed away quite early because of some sickness that he had. Okay, so this was something that I always remembered. I may not like him as an individual, but the trust level we had on each other was high because of certain things that happened as we were growing up. Okay, right now, other things, right? How do you know if you can trust someone? Okay, key thing here, and this is the key 5 things I'm going to share with you. How do you build these 5 things? If you remember what I mentioned, okay, in the header for today's topic, how do you build these 5 things? The key 5 pointers, improving trust, the 5 pointers, okay? So how do you know if you can trust someone? So type again, right? What are the things do you do to see whether someone can be trusted? What are the things that you do? Let's go. How do you know you can trust someone? How do you know you can trust someone? Very critical. How do you know I can be trusted? How do you know you can? Take sacrifice or wow, must cut blood. Okay, brothers, man, we cut blood and we shake hands, right? By our heart. Very touchy feely, yeah. But what does your heart say? How do you know? What comes out? Right? When you can bear with them and there's no need to censor anything. Yeah, makes sense. Right? There's no need to censor. By knowing them. What you Miva, what are you looking for? Accountability. What do you mean? They is it grace accountability? Is it what you mean by that is I promise to do something, hence I do it? Is that what you mean? Right? Based on their commitment to do something and they get it done, is it? By time. So Tommy says it's very difficult to trust a person unless I take time to know them. I'm wondering how long a time, Tommy. 1 year, 6 months. Sandy says talk to them. I need to talk to them. Okay, right? I need to get to know them. Right? My heart reacts when we trust and love someone. Ooh, wow. So, Hijin, don't mind me asking exactly what happened. Huh? Are we getting a Korean romance rom-com on this? What happened to the heart? Okay, I'm just making fun of Yijin a bit, but because she's Korean, but it's kind of funny. No, sir, don't need to call me sir, call me JL. I know. So I mean, because you're the one who's been saying that there's a feeling to it. So I'm asking, what exactly is that feeling? What exactly is that feeling? And now let's just say this, Yijin. If I were to make you trust me, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Because trust works both ways. Agree now? Trust works both ways, right? It's about expressing certain things, right? It's about expressing our true feeling, our thoughts, correct? And you know, I am expressing it in an honest way. I am not hiding. I am not filtering stuff, correct? Right? And even when you watch a lot of romantic comedies, right? That's the point of time whereby the guy, the boy, and the girl, they profess their love with each other, and after so many chapters of waiting and waiting and waiting, finally their true feelings are shown, and they have this talk, and there's crying, there's laughter, there's emotion, and everyone go yay! You know what I mean? So that plays down there. We call it love, of course, but thing down there is the trust level is, hey, they are able to put it at that level whereby they are able to put their true feelings down. So everyone has a lot of things, express our feeling, what we say. Lina, you say, do what they say and say what they do. They are committed to doing that. Okay. Now, let me show you 5 things which is critical. Let me show you 5 things which is critical. But before that, let me ask you a quick question. Okay, you trust this guy. You trust this guy. Kenneth, yeah, no. Thank you. Kenneth says no. Okay. Yes, Tommy. No, the thing here is this. I mentioned a whole. Wow, Jin definitely. Wow, so in love with me already. So fast. Okay. All right. So, never had a Korean girlfriend before. Now, just joking. All right. So, my key thing to you is this. Why do you sign up? Or wait, there's nothing to lose. Or okay, this guy put up something, there's nothing to lose. Let's just sign up. Let's have a look, right? Do you what do you call it? Do you trust every single bit of information I put up here? How many of you actually checked on me before you came? Or you okay lah? It's been so long. He looks like a good-looking guy. Let's just come in. Okay. Or you have actually been to one of my trainings before, right? So all these are things that going through our head whenever we meet someone. Okay, I'm just using myself as an example. May or may not be a good example, but I'm just using myself as an example. Right? When we meet someone, and even if sometimes we have known the person for many, many, many years, okay, sometimes surprises will still occur. Agree? So, what are the key factors that we look for in a trust situation? And let me summarize it in 5 keywords for you. Okay, 5 keywords. And please, once I've given you these 5 keywords, right? Keywords, your job and everyone's job, to be frank, is to figure out how do we keep on improving this 5 aspects so that we are able as managers to communicate this to the people that we need to understand this, or we as the leader need to make sure we are showing it to our subordinates so that they will go through heaven and hell with us. Not for us, with us. Again, okay? And this is something very critical that we need to do all the time. Now, the 5 components of trust. Type down 5. Okay, type 5. 5. Whether you want to spell it or you want to put the number 5, up to you. Okay, 5 components of trust. Hey, type down first. Type down first. 5. Thank you, Wayan. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Tommy. Okay, Sabi. 5. Right? 5. Right? So everyone knows there's 5. There's 5 components. Right? Now, some people say there's more. I've looked around. I've really looked around. Okay, I've looked around. I've done my research, and ultimately, everything seems to come back to this 5. No matter how you summarize it, it seems to come back to this 5. Okay, I've changed some of the words over the years. Right, I've been doing this. I've changed some of the words to make it as exact as I can. Right, example. Right. So, wow. Nika, no 55, just 5. Okay, so the first thing is competence. Competence. What I mean by the word competence is this: that we feel that the person we are talking to actually is knowledgeable and has the ability to do it, or can do it, has the experience of doing it. You get me? Everyone okay? Has the experience of doing it, have the ability to do it. That's why when we trust a person, hey, if that person can do, no problem. You just pass it to him, he will get it done. Okay, why? Because one example here is saying the person is competent enough to do what they need to be done. Okay? Or the person is so far so far ahead in terms of competency. This is what we call in Malaysia, we call it kacang putih, which is very simple for him or her to get it done. Right? A second part of the trust equation is down to consistency. What do you mean by consistency? There are people in the world who are very competent, but they are not very consistent. That's why you don't trust them. Again, you understand the difference between the two? I'm clear. There are people in the world who are very competent, but they are not very consistent. Notice the word consistent. They are not very reliable. They are not very predictable. A yes may not always be a yes. Tomorrow may not always be tomorrow. Sometimes it can be tomorrow. Sometimes it can be a day after. Sometimes they will tell you they forgot. Can they do the job? Of course they can do the job. But problem with them is sometimes they forget to do the job. Sometimes they are always delayed and they are not always consistent in terms of being able to deliver it consistently on time. Right? It is like that staff who is consistently late. Can the person be early? Yes, of course, the staff knows how to be early, but somehow or other, the person is always consistently late. So when you want to pass him or her something, you are very, very, should I? Can it be relied on the person to get it in by tomorrow? Everyone so far? Are we okay here? Ken? If you're all right, this two, I'll focus on this two. Okay. So, anyone, any questions or anything that you may want to ask before we go to the next? Right. Right. Thank you, Gabriel. Right. None. Okay. Right. Eugene, thank you. So it's all about competency and consistency. This is something that we see. Another level which takes time as well is integrity. Integrity. What do you mean by integrity? End of the day, that this person knows what is right, what is wrong. And as no, some people would like to share this. Some people would like to say this. Right? Yeah. Oprah Winfrey says, you know Oprah Winfrey, right? One of the first few billionaires in the entertainment industry. Who doesn't know Oprah Winfrey, right? Okay, right. The fact is, she was born in the I think remember she said she was born in the South America, born to a poor family. Being black, some more, not easy. Okay, yet she rose to become one of the moguls of entertainment industry, and she said, real integrity is doing the right thing, knowing that nobody is going to know whether you did it or not. So that's a very fine distinction of what integrity means. It's the person will always do what is the right thing. What is the right thing? Okay, we trust the person is because we know that person will do what is the right thing. That's why we can sometimes go, okay, I trust him. It's because a lot of leaders would say, I trust that person because I know he or she will do the right thing, despite not knowing what the journey or what the project will bring. They say this person will just do the right thing, right? And this right thing, integrity, sometimes it's very much linked to loyalty, and I'll show you in a moment what I mean. Okay, Tommy goes, sometimes a person's action or body language can cause a person able to trust or not. In a way, yes. In a way, yes. Right? Because we always say that the body is not so good at hiding the person's thought and feelings compared to the mouth. Right? A lot of charmers use their mouth, right? But if you look at charmers, well, or those very persuasive people, if you look at it from the full body perspective, not every part of the body can lie. So you're looking for certain inconsistencies. Behavior interviewers, body language expert, and I know one in Malaysia had always told me this before. He mentioned, look at the person's whole body, right? Look for the inconsistency. If the person is real, all the things should be aligned. Consistency should be there. But if the person is lying, you will see certain inconsistencies, right? And that is the point whereby you should ask yourself the question: is this person really just acting or is real? Okay, so the body language can see to be trusted or not. I do believe that to be true, but if you look carefully, if the person is lying about it and they're just showing a certain body language, you are looking for inconsistencies. Because if the person is genuine, the consistency should all be there. Okay, removing the cultural aspect, removing that the environmental aspect, whatever it may be. Okay, right, Tommy, I hope I given you a little bit of a insight into that. Huh? Now, competency, consistency, integrity. These are three key ones. Now, the other two more subtle ones, and these two are extremely critical on the long term. And a lot of you have mentioned it's about that stealing, it's about that openness of communication. I used to use the word openness here, but now I prefer to use the word vulnerability. How vulnerable are they? Meaning, do they openly share with you? And there is nothing hiding. The good and the bad. The good and also the bad. Right? So they don't filter. They just tell you as it is. Right? The other thing is they will even show you, they will even show the emotion to you. Okay? And you know it's real. This is something that is very critical. Now, I have been telling a lot of leaders in recent months, okay, it is okay to be vulnerable in this kind of environment. Your staff needs to understand, all right, that this is not an easy environment to work with. This is especially last year when I did a lot of coaching, right? In 2020, when the COVID really hit us all around the world hard, and for the first time, a lot of businesses, a lot of business owners were shaken, a lot of leaders were shaken, not knowing what to do. Um, I told a lot of them actually who were in my coaching sessions, please, you need to show some vulnerability here, because the vulnerability will allow people to understand, will allow people to feel you. And that's how the trust level of what you are saying is sincere and is real. Okay. Now, the openness here also means, I mean, when I say vulnerable, I'm saying do and show more than what you usually would. Tell the people the real situation. Tell the people that this is fact, this is the truth. There is no need to hide anything. People understand the truth. People understand the fact. People understand the raw emotion, or people feel the raw emotion. And that is what we feel vulnerable. That is what makes trust goes up again. Are we all right here? Can do? Okay, I said that all these are snippets, or are short snippets of what we actually do in the for this particular area here is in the Certified High Performance Manager program. Okay, right. We will go into a bit more detail down there, but I'm just showing you a snippet of this. But this is the core. This is the core file. This is the core file. Okay. Now, last but not least, that's the loyalty. Loyalty. What I mean by the loyalty here is, please think of loyalty in I would say, for an organization, you could look at it from maybe four levels. Okay, four levels. Level one, we are all born to be loyal to ourselves. It's a self survival. Survival is a very instinctive thing. Survival is a very instinctive thing. So we are always loyal to self. The next thing we are loyal to is we are loyal to what we deem as our families and our teams and things like that. So there's a certain loyalty to the people around us. You get me? The people that we work with a lot. Then in the organization, company that you work with, there's a certain loyalty to the whole entire department, right? Or there's a certain loyalty to the profession. That's why people say, oh, I'm the engineer. We're all engineers like this. Or I'm the accountant. We're all the accounting people like this. We are from sales. And all the sales people are like this. You get me? There's a certain loyalty to the people who do that function. Right? And they don't want to break that loyalty to the people who do that function. And last but not least, there's also a high loyalty to the organization. You get me? Right? And let's not talk about the social fabric. Like the social fabric, you have your organ, your countries and things like that. But let's talk about this loyalty thing here. One of the key things with trust is when people or individual cannot let go of the self loyalty. That's how they make very bad decisions. CEOs who make decisions but cannot let go of self. So what do you think the decisions are? Anyone? Good or bad? CEOs who make decisions but cannot let go of self and always make decisions based on self. So what happens down there? Anyone? Type down. Type down. What do you think? What do you think happens? Can you trust this person to lead the organization? Oh, everyone very suddenly quiet. Think about this. A CEO who leads the organization based on self. SELF. Can this person be trusted? Very hard, right? Sandy? Very hard. Imagine making decisions. He is selfish. Yeah, Mira goes, he's selfish. And then we have had that happen. We have had that happen. Whereby the company is having a bad break, everyone's salary is being cut, or it's sort of like free, and the CEO gives himself a bonus. You get me? So everyone's going like, how come you are not in this boat with us? You seem to be on a cruise ship, and all of us are on this, dugout log in the middle of the ocean, and you're on a cruise ship. You get what I mean? Then the trust factor totally disappears. The trust factor totally disappears because the loyalty is to the individual. The loyalty may even to be an exclusive group of people to in his or her club. Okay, in his or her club. So therefore, that loyalty, when they show and they do actions like this, it becomes very, hey, I don't trust you anymore. Right? So sometimes, and I've seen this enough. I've also seen this enough, whereby some managers will make decisions which is good for their team, but no good for everyone else in the organization. Okay? Some managers, and you will, if you are working, you will understand what I'm saying. They will make decisions that are good for their team. It actually makes them and their team look good. But in actual fact, it is very detrimental toward the whole entire organization. Okay? So again, not a very good thing to do. Not a very good thing to do. Because why? People tend to suffer. And the trust level for this individual goes down greatly. The team may love him for it, but the trust organization-wide or people not in his or her team start not trusting them at all. Okay, so what we're saying here is this, please. The trust is broken. Yes, Sandy, the trust is totally KO, knocked out. Okay, no one wants to know this person, no one wants to talk, and everyone, whenever they talk to these individuals, are very suspicious. It's because they have this experience before. They take everything with a pinch of salt. They double check the facts. They don't believe what they see until certain action is done. And even when these individuals take action and the action is moving forward, they still have their doubts. Because why? The vase has been broken. You can fix it, but it's never the same. As someone said, it takes years to build up trust. It takes seconds to destroy it. Okay? So when you look at trust, remember 5 key things. To me, it's kind of difficult to look at integrity. Over time you will see it. Right? That this person makes decisions that's honest and truthful, or that this person act in an honest and truthful manner. Okay. Second thing, right? Competence you will be able to see quite quickly, right? You want any job, anything, competence. Consistency you will also be able to see from the behavior. do they make it? Right? You know that friend who's very inconsistent with his or her time. You know that friend who's always consistently late. Okay. Sorry, Peter. Right. Right. That friend who's consistently late. You know that friend. Okay. So now you also know people who are very who are more vulnerable when they come to talking to you, or they are more willing to share, they are more willing to open up. And these people you tend to trust more because you tend to say, no, I have seen the deeper thoughts and their deepest feeling, or you rather you think like that. So therefore you trust them a little bit more. So if you lead a team, please learn to be vulnerable. Vulnerable. If you don't know something, tell your team you are not sure. Don't act as though it's this thing. Right? Now, last thing, loyalty. Always remember, most people do not trust you until they feel you are also loyal to them. Most people do not trust you until they feel you are also loyal to them. Meaning, and not too long ago, I had a conversation with a manager, or telling the manager the feedback that I'm getting from the team is this: the team doesn't feel that this manager is backing them up. Okay, they always feel whenever they are doing something, presenting something, when something goes wrong or something is shaky, right? The manager doesn't back them up, and they are in the firing squad. Okay, the manager does not come out with the shield and go, I'm shielding you from this, or let me take the hit. Okay, then I told the manager, the manager mentioned to me, yeah, but they are in the wrong. I my okay, what do you think was my reply to the manager? Okay, think about this. The manager says, okay, the reason why I do not do what I do is because this team member up in the presentation, blah blah blah, said the wrong thing. Quite obvious, right? That's why he or she was being fired upon. Okay. Hmm. So my response, right, to it was, I don't think there's any doubt based on what he said. I feel he said the wrong thing. Okay. However, there is a key difference here between protecting your team by diverting the bullets away, or at least stopping the bullets from being shot to the team member, so that he or she does not lose face in front of everybody. And then you can, as the manager, can go and do what you need to do later to the individual. There's a huge difference here. One is I'm being attacked in front of everybody. Yes, I know I made a mistake, but now I'm being attacked and I don't feel my manager is coming in to protect me. Okay. Now, where people get this thing from, I always say, all kids, whenever they are young, even when they are slightly wrong, okay, they always want the parent to come and protect them. Now, I'm not saying we do not allow our kids to be fired, shot at, okay, but that is the instinct within most people, that when they are doing something in front of other people, working it out, I'm being shot at. How come my so-called superior never come and help me a little bit, just to even divert some of the bullets? You get me? Right? We have such conversations a lot in speak up. Right? I do a workshop called Speak Up in Communication. We do a lot of this kind of conversation. Right? Now, it is fair to say, despite the broken trust, like a broken vase, okay, this I'm just reading what Kenneth has written. To rebuild the broken trust is for the sake of professionalship. There is no point harping on hoping for a renewed trustship after it's broken. View. Now, let me just bring a slightly different view, Kenneth, onto what you just wrote out there. I would not say is, yes, I mean, in a way, yes, it's just the professionalship of getting to the end. in a lot of time with working relationship, right? Something has happened, so whether it's my fault, the other party's fault, we still continue, okay, with this, and we just go on so that we just get to an end result. But one thing must is very certain: the relationship becomes very transactional. It's no longer a trust relationship. It's like, you do it, I will do it. You do it, I will do it. I'll do it, you better do it. You get me? I remembered when I was working with a very big IT consulting firm 20 years ago, okay, 20 odd years ago. What happened down there was um, the project manager and the so-called head, okay, actually the head is supposed to the section head is supposed to report to the project manager, but there was such a huge distinct that the project manager was standing in front of the head, right, and just telling the head, okay, we are both professionals here, right, we both work for the same organization, right, you are the expert in your area, but I am the project manager, okay, just get your job done. This is what the project manager, just get your job done, okay, do whatever that needs to be done, get it done. Next week, if you want to pack your bags and leave for the next and for your next project, go ahead, I will approve everything. That's how bad the relationship got. Okay, that this person was literally saying, yeah, once the project is over, I don't need to see your face anymore, you don't need to see my face, just get it done by next week. Where you want to go, I will just approve it, and you can go to the next project, because we were always working in projects in this particular organization, right? So it's fair on the transactional relationship after trust. It is fair. Yeah, I think that that's probably the only way to go. But as we go towards the transactional relationship, it also becomes the likelihood of legal coming in becomes closer and closer. I'm just going to put it there. The likelihood of legal coming in, a legal case coming in becomes closer and closer. Why? Very simple. Anytime one party makes a mistake, the other party is going to happen it. The moment they can't get exactly what they want, there may be a legal issue or there may be an HR issue coming next. Okay, and that is the thing. Whereby if there's trust, I am still gonna go, Kenneth, I know lah, can one, no problem one. I just got to close one eye. Next week also can. Because I'm not going to find fault. I'm not going to find an issue to raise. Why? Because I trust you. Where in the transactional, the moment if something is delayed, something is late, something is short, you have another explosion of issues. And that is, I think, we do not want to do it. I mean, which is the reason why in a lot of Asian businesses, trust becomes very key. The handshake becomes key. The handshake becomes word. The moment the handshake is broken, right, a lot of other implications will come in. Okay, so this is what's happening here. Now, anyone else with any other views? Okay, Ken? Right. I've just got a few more things I just want to share very quickly, right? So please, when you build on trust, okay, just really about 3 more slides, right? When you build on trust, please remember this, okay? As the manager, engage your staff, get them involved, right? Ask them for their opinion, allow them to talk about whatever they want to talk about, and vice versa. Please, you must talk about what you want to talk about, okay? Allow them to challenge and anything possible, right? And I will give you a certain list of things that you can look into in the next slide, right? Please get them to understand certain reasons by explaining. Explain. Please take the time to explain. A lot of people are not explaining enough, right? For them to understand. Show that their opinions are considered. I was just having a conversation earlier with someone, and the individual was saying a lot of times when management, and this person understands, and we were both, because this person is also a senior person, he said a lot of times when new people come to organization, they tend to bring out these ideas, and sometimes managers just ignore the idea, right? But the problem with a lot of managers, and this was what he said, is that they don't go and explain why this idea was even ignored. Because for them, this is like the 10th time I've seen this idea come out. And we have tried it before, it does not really work at all. Why? Because the person who brought up this idea did not consider this factor. To me, this factor that need to be considered are very key learning point. Why is the manager not bringing it up? Okay, build trust in the decision and in the solution. Don't sabotage those decisions and the solution. Why? Because you don't trust what it is. And please, expectation, right? Clarify the rules. What they need to do, when do they need to do it by, what's the target, what's the aim here, what's the amount, whatever you need to, and let them know what the evaluation criteria is, so that they know what they are being measured on as a staff. They know what they're supposed to do. They know that you have the trust in me to do it, and I know that you have heard my opinion as the staff on this particular matter, right? And we are still moving forward. Okay, something that we need to think about. So remember, take the time to engage, take the time to explain, take the time to set the expectation. Key thing here, right? So what you can do, everyone, type in the 3 E's, 3 E's. Always do the 3 E, just 3 and E, okay? The 3 E's are, quick recap, huh? Explain, sorry, engage. The first E is always engage. The second E is explain. The last E is always to set expectation. Okay, right? If you enjoy me my my longer session, okay, we will definitely go into this a bit more, and we will even have some scenarios whereby we look into how to explain and things like that. Okay, now last but not least, okay, these are some of the must, right? Managers must do with their team to build trust. Remember, they must trust you. Your team members must trust you. You must also learn to trust your team members. If you do not trust your team members for any reason, then I think it's fine. It's time that you really relook into why this team member is even there. And I'm not joking. I think it's time for you to look into why this team member is even there. Why are you keeping this person there? Okay. Now, always have lots of dialogues. Dialogues mean two-way communication with individual. Able to address any topic sincerely. As the manager, please be able to address any topic that they bring up sincerely. Meaning, hey, if you know the answer, let them know the answer. If you know the answer but want them to try first, let them know, hey, I will tell you after you have done after you have done what you're supposed to do. Right? If you do not know the answer, you do not know whatever, tell them straight out, I'm not sure. I don't think I can advise you on that, but let's see whether we can work on something to get to a solution. Okay, so increase the transparency, right? Tough times require more transparency. Okay, so tough times like this requires us to be very revealing, requires us to be more vulnerable, right? To share so-called the burdens. Now, keep the promises, right? This is what people have been saying, the consistency, keep the commitment. Rules are guides, not law or solution. Never, and this is something that was asked earlier. Rules are guides, not laws or solution. No, not many rules can stand the test of time and applicable to all environments. Again, not many rules can stand the test of time and is applicable to all environments. Very few rules are. Okay. Now, have models of trust for everyone. Let people know what's the trust model. Even if you want to go back to the 5, that's the trust model. Let people know what's the trust model. Okay. And talk about the trust model. Is the competency there? Is the consistency there? Is the person of high integrity? Right? Is the person being vulnerable? And last but not least, hey, where's the loyalty here? Organizations expect loyalty to at least the team. That's what I always say. Okay? At least the team. Organization hate it when the person is always thinking of himself or herself. Example, a family. Even your family, the family prefers everyone to think as to be loyal to the family and not just loyal to himself or herself. Because if I'm loyal to myself, okay, in the family, whenever you serve me dinner, I will take the nicest food for myself first. You get me? We don't like this kind of behaviors in any family. No. If you do not know, state so and seek help. Emphasize on appropriate actions. Okay. So one of the key things to reduce the consistency thing is, especially people coming in late and stuff like that, is to emphasize what is the appropriate actions you want to see. The appropriate actions. Okay, so literally it's action that you want to see, right? Respect the employees, right? Vice versa, expect the respect them. Last but not least, people want to feel that there's a fairness treatment, that they're being treated fairly across the board. Are we okay here? They're treated fairly across the board. Now, fair does not necessarily mean it's right. Right does not necessarily mean it's fair, but there must be a fairness in terms of the treatment. Okay. Now, with that, I've got one more slide, and we can go very quickly Q&A. I know I've taken a bit more time than normal for this one. Usually, I'm quite good with my time. Sorry works when a mistake is made, but when trust is broken, so in life, make mistakes, but never break trust. Okay, because forgiving is easy, but forgetting and trusting again is sometimes impossible. So sorry works when a mistake is made, but not when trust is broken. So in life, make mistakes, but never break trust. Because forgiving is easy, but forgetting and trusting again is sometimes impossible. It's sometimes impossible. And that's why some people never ever become friends or talk to each other again. Never. Okay? So that's what exactly happens. Right? Kenneth asked how to rebuild a broken trust. Good question. Okay? Good question. If you can answer that question and you have a method, you become a bestseller there. Actually, there are many ways of doing. There are many approaches. End of the day, it's whether that person on the other side whom you need to rebuild trust with sees it as something that he or she will appreciate. Again, there are many ways of doing it. There are no one system model that works. But the key thing is this: what is the other party wanting to see and feel and hear and think? I think you should start. I mean, anyone who wants to rebuild trust should start from that. But remember, no matter how it's rebuilt, forgetting is not easy. Forgetting is not easy because an incident has happened in the past and a certain biasness or certain this thing has put in place in the head and the heart of the individual, and it's not going to go away easily. Okay, right, Joanna, thank you. Thanks for being here with me. Right, thank